A storm is building over Heartland Ranch, and episode 10 is about to hit harder than anything this season. Secrets are closing in, old wounds reopening, and one decision may change the future of the family forever. If you think you're ready for what episode 10 brings, think again. The air around Heartland feels heavier than usual, as if land itself knows something big is coming. The early morning light stretches across the ranch, soft and golden, but there is a tension hidden inside that calm glow. Horses run throughout the open fields, their hooves breaking the silence, almost warning that trouble is on its way. Episode 10 begins with this quiet storm building slow, quietly, but with a power you can ignore. The ranch has always seen its share of drama, but this time the stakes are different. There is a feeling that the choices made in this episode will echo far beyond just one moment. As day begins at Heartland, every character seems pulled by their own worries. Amy feeling a strange tension she can't explain. Lou caught in another problem that seems ready to explode, and Jack watching the ranch with kind of concern. That only comes from years of knowing when peace is about to break. The narrator's voice guides you through the rising pressure. We see Amy walking along the fence line, the wind brushing past her as if trying to warn her of something she can't yet see. A troubled horse waits in the distance, restless and uneasy, hinting that its arrival might be the trigger for a much bigger storm. Nothing is said between them yet, but the energy is sharp, emotional, and dangerous. Meanwhile, Lou is dealing with the weight of responsibilities she can no longer hide from. The ranch may look beautiful from outside, but inside her mind, everything feels messy and out of balance. Political pressure keeps tightening around her, and family expectations add even more weight. She tries to keep her calm smile, but episode 10 begins to show cracks in her confidence. The world she's been trying so hard to control is slipping through her fingers, and she doesn't have much time left to fix it. Jack, the heart and backbone of the ranch, senses the shift more clearly than anyone else. He watches the rising clouds in Theta stance, the same clouds that once warned him of storms long before they arrived. His experience tells him that something is not right, not with the people he loves and not with the land that has carried their family throughout generations. In episode 10, his instincts will be tested more than ever, and his choices might decide who gets hurt and who gets saved. The opening months of the episode feel like a slow drum beat step by step. Every shot, every sound, every shadow hints that your actors are standing on the edge of something they can't control. A door slams in the background. A horse lets out a sharp cry. The wind shifts direction. These are small signs, but they come together like puzzle pieces showing that something big is about to break. Just when the tension seems bearable, the trailer reveals a quick flash of a moment that changes everything. A mysterious rider appears at the edge of the ranch, their presence both unexpected and unsettling. Their arrival is the silent spark that sets the rest of the episode on fire. The camera cuts away before we see their face, but one thing is clear. This person brings trouble. Episode 10 opens with a promise. The peace of Heartland is about to be shaken, and nothing will be the same after this. The tone is darker, more emotional, and more unpredictable. This isn't just another episode. It is a turning point the entire season has been building toward. And as the storm clouds gather over the ranch, the audience is left with one chilling message. Heartland is about to face a challenge that will test every bond, every belief, and every heart. The calm around Heartland breaks the moment. The mysterious rider steps onto the ranch. Their presence sends a quiet shock through the air, like a ripple that spreads far wider than anyone expects. No one knows their name yet, but their arrival is tied to a horse that looks more frightened than dangerous. And yet, there is something in its eyes that warns Amy this is no ordinary case. This single moment sets the entire plot of episode 10 into motion, pulling every character into a storm they didn't see coming. Amy's world turns the moment she broaches the troubled horse. Its body tenses, its breathing is uneven, and its fear runs deeper than a simple bad experience. Amy reaches out with her calm energy, but even she can feel something darker beneath the surface. A secret the writer refuses to share. The silence between them becomes the first spark of conflict, a sign that their story is much bigger than they are willing to admit. Amy senses that this horse carries a history, filled with pain, and helping it might drag her into a danger she never asked for. Dahlia meanwhile faces her own unraveling story. In episode 10, the pressure of her political life collides with the demands of the ranch. A new crisis lands in her lap at the worst possible time that threatens both her reputation and the trust of the people around her. She tries to juggle everything at once, but the more she pushes forward, the more she feels the world slipping out of her control. Episode 10 forces her to confront the truth she has been avoiding. She cannot keep living in two worlds without losing something important. As these conflicts rise, the energy of the ranch becomes more divided. Conversations grow tense. Decisions become heavy. And behind all of it, The mysterious writer watches quietly as if studying the family and waiting for the right moment to speak. Their connection to the horse begins to unravel, hinting at a past they are running from, one that could easily spill into Heartland and pull everyone into fallout. At the same time, a separate storyline erupts when Jack discovers something troubling on the edge of the property. Something that suggests the ranch is at risk in a way no one anticipated. The moment he realizes the danger, his protective instincts flare. This threat is not just about the land, it's about the people he loves. Episode 10 pushes Jack into action, forcing him to make decisions that feel heavier with every step. The tension thickens as the episode progresses. Every character is pulled into their own challenge, but slowly they begin to realize that all these problems are connected. The horse, the mysterious rider, lose growing pressure. Jack's discovery. None of it is random. Heartland is caught in the middle of a chain reaction, one that could break the rhythm of the ranch and change its future. What makes episode 10 truly gripping is how each storyline feeds next. Amy's struggle with the horse becomes a key to uncovering the truth about the rider. Lou's pressure begins affecting the family in ways she can't control. Jack's discovery ties everything together, showing the audience that the danger is more real than anyone expected. Every moment builds toward a climax that promises to shake the family to its core. The finale scenes of this section bring the tension to a new height. Amy finally confronts Ryder, demanding the truth. Lou reaches a breaking point as news threatens her plans, and Jack races to stop a problem that could put the entire ranch at risk. Just as the audience thinks they understand where the story is going, episode 10 ends this act with a stunning reveal twist that connects every thread into one powerful turning point. The ranch is no longer just dealing with small personal struggles. It is facing something bigger, heavier, and far more dangerous. Episode 10 isn't simply another chapter. It is the moment the entire season snaps into focus. Episode 10 digs deep into the hearts of the characters, peeling back every layer they've tried to hide. The emotional pressure becomes impossible to ignore, and every character is forced to confront something they've been running from. This is the episode where feelings explode, secrets crack open, and choice leaves scars. The drama is personal, painful, and unavoidable. Amy's emotional journey becomes the center of everything. From the moment she connects with the troubled horse, some message inside her shifts. She feels the fear, the confusion, the silence, almost as if horse is trying to tell her a story throughout its trembling movements. Amy has always been able to read pain, but this time the pain feels familiar. It reminds her of a past she thought she had finally healed from. The deeper she digs, the more she realizes the horse carries a trauma tied directly to the mysterious rider. This connection for Sesame to face her own memories, her fears of losing control, and the part of herself she tries so hard to keep strong for everyone else. Episode 10 pushes her into a place where helping the horse means reopening emotional wounds she never wanted to revisit. Meanwhile, Georgie's storyline enters a turning point of its own. Episode 10 does not put her at the center of attention, but the shadows around her are growing. She's standing at a crossroads that demands a decision, one that could pull her away from Heartland or tie her to it in a completely new way. A quiet moment reveals the truth. Georgie has been hiding something big, something that could change her future forever. Whether she shares it with the family or not becomes one of the emotional cliffhangers of the episode. Her struggle is subtle but powerful, reminding the audience that silence often hides the most dramatic choices. Tim's storyline is a storm of emotions and conflicts. He finds himself torn between loyalty and ambition, between what he believes is right and what he fears might destroy everything. Episode 10 places him in the middle of a heated confrontation, one he cannot walk away from. His decisions carry a weight that threatens to pull him into a conflict that could damage his relationships with both his family and the ranch. A single conversation becomes a spark that turns into an argument, revealing sides of Tim Thudiance hasn't seen in a long time. This episode shows his vulnerability, fear, and stubbornness all at once, painting him in a raw, unfiltered light. Jack's emotional arc becomes the anchor of episode 10. His calm wisdom is tested harder than ever before. The discovery makes earlier in the episode grows into a threat he can no longer ignore. But the emotional weight doesn't come from the danger. It comes from the fear of failing his family. Jack has always carried the burden of being the protector, the steady presence, the one who keeps everyone grounded. Episode 10 forces him into a moment of fear he hasn't felt in years. He worries that this time his strength may not be enough. The episode reveals his inner battle through quiet moments. Him sitting alone in the barn, him staring at an old photo, him touching the wormwood of the ranch gates as if trying to find answers in the history they hold. The audience feels the heaviness of a man who carries more than he ever admits. But perhaps the most intense emotional twist comes from the mysterious writer. Episode 10 slowly unwraps their past, revealing a heartbreaking truth. The writer's connection to the troubled horse is not just emotional. It is rooted in a tragic mistake that changed both of their lives. The truth hits Amy hard. It hits the family hard. And it hits the audience even harder. Their story is onion of pain, guilt, and a desperate attempt to undo the past before it destroys their future. The writer's confession becomes one of the episode's most powerful moments. It shifts the narrative, pulling every storyline into one shared emotional center. As the characters face their challenges, the ranch begins to feel the pressure, too. Heartland has always been a place of healing, but episode 10 turns it into a battlefield of emotions. Every conversation becomes a shivi. Every decision becomes risky. Every look carries meaning. The episode builds on these emotional threads, weaving them into a tapestry of tension that grows thicker with every scene. A moment between Amy and Jack becomes the heart of the section. Amy finally breaks, unable to carry the weight alone. Jack, with all his quiet strength, becomes the support she desperately needs. Their conversation, raw, honest, and emotional, reveals that true depth of their bond. It becomes a reminder that at Heartland, family doesn't just share love, they share burdens, fears, and heartbreaks. The episode's emotional tension peaks when the horse reacts violently during a breakthrough moment. Amy is nearly hurting for a brief second. The entire ranch freezes. This moment becomes a warning that the situation is more dangerous than anyone realized. The horse is a mirror of the writer's past, and healing it means facing that past head-on. It is kind of emotional chaos that pulls the audience tightly into the story, making them feel every heartbeat, every breath, every fear. By the end of the section, the characters are pushed to their emotional limits. Secrets have been exposed, fears have been revealed, and every relationship is hanging in a fragile balance. Episode 10 becomes a reminder that at Heartland, healing always comes with pain. And some of deepest wounds are the ones no one sees. The final act of episode 10 unfolds like a gathering storm flow at first, then loud, fast, and impossibly to outrun. The emotional wake from earlier scenes doesn't fade. Instead, it whisks into a dangerous momentum that pulls everyone at Heartland toward a moment none of them are ready for. The air feels colder, the sky darker, and every shadow on the ranch seems longer than it should be. Something is coming in episode 10. Make sure the audience feels it long before it arrives. Amy steps out into the open field as the wind rises, carrying dust and warnings with it. Her connection with the troubled horse has reached a breaking point. She knows it. The horse knows it. And deep inside, she fears that one wrong move could send everything spiraling out of control. The writer stands nearby. Their expressions, their past finally dragged into light. The truth between them no wangs in the air heavy, sharp, and impossible to ignore. Amy faces the horse, refusing to let fear win. But her voice trembles with the weight of everything she has uncovered. This moment isn't just about healing an animal. It's about confronting the pain that ties three lives together. Meanwhile, Lou faces the crisis she's been running from all episode. A decision she made earlier has spiraled into something far more damaging. And now she's forced to deal with the backlash. A phone call hits her like a punch news that threatens her career, her plans, and the fragile balance she has fought so hard to keep. That frustration builds inside her as she realizes she can no longer separate her personal life from the storms outside of her control. Heartland is slipping out of her hands, and the people she loves are caught in the fallout. Her emotional breaking point arrives quietly, not with shouting, but with the kind of silence that says everything she's been holding in is finally too much. At Thebern, Jack is trying to stop the danger he discovered earlier in the episode. What seemed like a small problem has grown into a threat that puts both the ranch and the animals at risk. His instincts were right from the beginning, but even he didn't expect the danger to unfold so quickly. As the storm closes in, Jack races against time, pushing past his limits. Driven by a fear he hasn't felt in years. His urgency becomes the heartbeat of the episode, pounding louder with every step he takes. Episode 10 places him at the edge of a decision that could save every owner or cost him dearly. A Tim pulled in top chaos can no longer hide his frustration. His loyalty is tested when it discovers the truth behind Jack's worry. And the argument that follows shakes the foundation of their already fragile relationship. For the first time in a long time, both men face each other not as stubborn rivals, but as two people terrified of losing the family fought so hard to protect. Their confrontation is raw, emotional, and filled with the weight of years of unresolved tension. Even the audience can feel that this moment will leave a lasting mark on both of them. Back in the field, the storm finally hits. Thunder rolls across the sky. Lightning splits the darkness, and the wind twists throughout the ranch like a warning. That everything is about to explode. Amy tries to guide the frightened horse, but storm intensifies its panic. The animal rears desperate, wild, and terrified. The rider steps forward, trying to help, but their presence online makes the horse more unstable. The emotional threads between them unravel into chaos. The storm outside mirrors storm within. In a moment thick with tension, Amy realizes the only way to calm the horse is to force the rider to confront their past directly. She demands they step closer, even though danger is clear. The rider hesitates, fear tightening their grip, but Amy's voice cuts through the storm steady, strong and sure. When the rider finally approaches, the horse reacts violently, nearly throwing Amy to the ground. For a split second, the entire ranch seems to freeze. Even the storm pauses. The close call shakes everyone. But it also becomes the moment that exposes just how deep the trauma runs. Lou rushes toward the scene, her own cries as forgotten in the face of familiar fare. Tim and Jack arrive seconds later, breathless from their own battles. The entire family stands together, united in panic, as the danger becomes painfully real. Episode 10 brings them all to this moment. Every emotional thread, every conflict, every truth converging into an explosive turning point. Then it happens. A sound, a scream, a sudden movement. The cliffhanger strikes with precision. The horse lunges. The storm roars and someone, one of the main actors, falls to the ground with a force that echoes through the storm. The screen cuts to black before the audience can see who was hurt. No music, no explanation, just silence. The kind of silence that freezes the heart. A final line flashes across the screen, everything changes in episode 11. On just like that, episode 10 ends not with answers, but with a question that tears throughout every viewer. Who was hurt?